actually right now. Jeremy Fowler is in Cincinnati joining us now. Jeremy, the Bengals fans were hoping Trey Hendrickson will be out there tonight, but you just got some breaking news on his status. What do we need to know?
Laura, a source told me that Bengals star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson is out tonight with a hip issue. He wanted to try to play, but he told coaches today it's just going to be really tough for him to get back off that hip issue, and so he's hoping for next week against the Jets. Now, that is great news for Aaron Rodgers, who is already coming into this game with a lot of chemistry with his coaches and teammates. This has essentially become a run-first offense. Rodgers is totally cool with that. I talked to right tackle Troy Fautanu, who said that Rodgers really isn't making a lot of changes at the line of scrimmage. He'll do his normal checks and protections, but it's not like he's running his own old Green Bay offense. He is all in on running Arthur Smith's plan and offense, being protected at 41 years old with that steady running game. And also, players in the locker room talk about Arthur Smith and Rodgers. You saw the two there. They have really good chemistry. They have very similar personalities, quick-witted. Fautanu told me they are constantly razzing each other in team meetings. So that's been a good sign for their chemistry here that's translated on the field. One last note, with Calvin Austin out at wide receiver, watch for Roman Wilson, second-year guy. He could play a little bit more tonight. They're slowly trying to bring him along.
All right, something to keep an eye out for sure. Thanks to Jeremy Fowler for the latest there. And Aaron Rodgers, he's been letting his receivers do the work this season. He's averaging a league low 5.3 air yards per attempt, nearly 3 yards under his career average. And he's getting more than 7 yards after the catch per completion, the most in the league. The Steelers, 142 yards after catch per game this season, leads the league. And look who we have here today. We got Teddy Bruschi joining us on a Thursday NFL Live. It's so great to have you, Teddy.
So many Super Bowl champions.
We got a couple Super Bowl champions. Dan, so many, just two. Unless you got something to tell us we don't know about. Just okay. J-Mac's here. Dan Orlovsky's here. Teddy, why has Rodgers found success right out of the gates in Pittsburgh this season?
Well, first of all, I mean, he's the best one to hear that news that Trey Hendrickson's not playing, because that old man is going to be able to hold on to that ball a little bit longer. That graphic you showed, though, Laura, I mean, getting the ball out of his hands and letting his receivers just run with it. From the 20 to the 20, this is above 41-year-old quarterbacking here. From 20 to the 20, get it out of my hands. When it's in the red area, let me take some chances, because Rodgers is one of the top quarterbacks in the red area. 7 of his 15 throws are touchdowns in the red area. So what do I say to that as a defender? Okay, this guy's going to take care of himself in the field. He's going to get it out of his hands, but I better be on point, because the old Aaron Rodgers comes out. Arthur Smith's done a great job of getting him on the run in the red area, bootlegs, play actions, run game, all of that stuff. And when Rodgers sees a little bit of a window, he's going to take it, especially in the red area. That's where he takes his chances.
And they've totally changed the usage of DK Metcalf. DK in Seattle was a lot of just run deep, and that's the strength of his, obviously, size and speed. But they're giving it to him so much shorter route-wise. I mean, you look at the numbers, kind of comparison to what he's been in the past. The yards after the catch, DK Metcalf has 224 yards after the catch so far this season. That's #1 in the NFL for wide receivers.
Who wants to tackle that?
Yeah, I think that's the great point, is just trying to tackle him. And then I think the benefit of this is Aaron doesn't get touched anymore. I mean, the last 4 weeks, he's been hit 4 times a game. And so it's smart, because the big question was, could you keep him healthy enough, not for September and October, but for back into November, December, and so
be there for every game.
We're talking about a guy in the last month who's been hit 10 to 12 times. If they can keep that going, this is sustainable.
Yeah, I love what both of you guys have said about Rodgers in the decision-making and getting the ball to his receivers. And when you talk specifically about DK Metcalf, the shorter passes, this past week against the Browns, we started to see it open up. We saw some of those deep shots along the sideline of DK Metcalf. And what I'm going to love to watch is him matched up with DJ Turner on the other side. DJ Turner hasn't gotten a lot of love as we're watching DK Metcalf go down the sideline. And when you're doing those short passes, you open it up to have those opportunities when he's singled up on the outside. DJ Turner last week matched Romeo Doubs, 4 pass breakups. He's matched up against Justin Jefferson. He's matched up throughout the course of this season. They feel like they found something with him. Jamison Williams, when they played against the Detroit Lions. To me, this is one to watch in the game tonight when you're looking to see, all right, DK Metcalf's going to be out there, where you're going to see DJ Turner on the opposite side of him, and he's a guy that's made plays for them on defense.
If they're going to play Turner one-on-one, Aaron's just going to throw him the ball. I mean, that's kind of what their pass game. How many guys in the league can cover DK one-on-one?
And then tackle him.
Yeah.
And then tackle him when he gets
we win 50-50 of it.
We watched Sertan do it last year when they played him, and he did a really good job of covering DK. You need a guy that has that size and that physicality, to your point, to be able to match him. We've watched DK Metcalf in the run game punk some corners. Yeah. So you got to go out there and have the right mindset against him.
Metcalf leads all wide receivers with 224 yards after the catch this season. Even if you thought you brought him down, he probably is still going.
I want no parts.
All right, let's get some top stories in here now as we bring in Jeff Darlington. Jeff, what can you tell us about Puka Nacua?
Yeah, well, some good news in terms of Puka Nacua's ankle injury in that it doesn't feel like it's long-term. The bad news, it does feel like he's going to miss this upcoming game. He has not been ruled out. He's still considered day-to-day, but the Rams are traveling to London, make it all the more difficult for him to be able to play. I thought Sean McVay had a very good quote. He said there's a difference between return to play versus return to performance. You want to make sure that he's in a position to succeed. It feels like he's still a little bit away from making that return. Meanwhile, CeeDee Lamb does actually look like he is tracking toward a return to play. We don't know that for sure yet, but limited in practice. He was out there again today, so it is trending in that direction after missing the last 3 games. Again, we'll watch closely today. I think this will wind up going into the weekend, but it does feel like CD is tracking toward playing. Mike Evans, meanwhile, also looking like he could return to the field this weekend, which would be huge news for the Bucs. They are impressive considering the litany of injuries that have faced this wide receiver room. Emeka Egbuka, the latest to go down with a hamstring injury that will keep him sidelined. Chris Godwin also out. But Evans now able to make the return. Laura, the crazy thing about this is the Bucs, the best record in the NFC, have never had those 3 wide receivers on the field at the same time. God. If and when they do, man, dangerous team.
Yeah, it does make you think about that, right? They were telling me that Mike Evans has been in all the meetings and everything this week, so a good sign. Baker Mayfield was just asked about how they've managed such a hot start without all their players.
We're sitting at 5-1, and you look at, the only interception I've had is when we lost. So you look at that, I look at how do we win, and that's what I'm worried about and focused on. So our team, I believe in it. I said it from training camp. I like the young guys that we have. I like the people we have. Obviously, it's never ideal when you're having to move people around all the time. Don't get me wrong, but nobody cares. Nobody feels bad for you. So you got to find a way to make it work.
Just to cap that off a little bit of what's going on in Tampa is so abnormal in the NFL. They've had the most offensive line combinations in the league this year, yet 5-1. They have more guys than anybody in the NFL with 10-plus targets at pass catcher, tight end, running back, yet 5-1. That's unique to how successful they've been, because usually that happens and you lose.
Yeah, new offensive coordinator, too. I mean, Josh Grizzard deserves credit, but it's Baker.
Todd Bowles holds that all together. The mentality that he has is always calm. And then, of course, there's the intensity and everything else that is Baker Mayfield, of course. But to have that as the head coach, when you're in a team meeting room to see that, it does.
I'm glad you said that. I don't know if Todd Bowles gets enough credit, too. A lot of us are focused on
the whole organization doesn't.
Right. Let's talk about this Monday Night Football matchup with the Lions. What's going to be the hardest thing for the Lions defense to contend with this Bucs offense?
Even with all the injuries, I think it's one of the best 12 personnel gap run games in the league. 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, and that gap stuff, the counters that they run, it's really good. And they could do it with their tight ends. They could do it with their offensive linemen. The different ways that they can get to that will present the challenge to Detroit. Second thing, you know what quarterback has the most rushing yards on 3rd down in the NFL this year?
This is my run right here.
Baker Mayfield.
Hit, shake and bake, stiff arm.
Teddy, Baker Mayfield.
Reach for the sticks.
You know what quarterback has ran for more first downs on 3rd down this year? Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
He's the best 3rd down scrambling quarterback in football right now. And so, for a defense that wants to play man coverage, I think it'll be interesting to see, does Detroit treat Baker Mayfield the way that they treated Lamar Jackson?
Hey, Bake's representing for y'all, man. Give him some love. The fact that you said the gap run scheme, and what I've learned from you being able to work for you the last 2 years, you always talk about within those runs, how do you marry them up to go out there and pass the ball? And when you look at Tampa Bay and what they're able to do, you talked about the gap schemes. You're going to see right here, both tight ends. One's off the ball on the right. He's going to come in motion on the left. He's the kick-out block. They're also pulling the right guard. This is in the first quarter of this football game. to start the game, running the ball to Rashad White, getting him the ball.
GF counter, guard and F tight end.
There you go, right there, the offensive perspective. Now, if I'm on defense, I'm out there, and if I'm in the middle linebacker spot, I'm like, I saw this play earlier in the first quarter. I'm going to blow this thing up. Yeah. So now they're coming downhill. Only difference, Baker was under center, now he's in the pistol. Watch the way the defense reacts to this play action. All 4 of those guys are all flying up the field. Now, look at the open area. Yeah. Cade Otton on the outside. He's able to dump the ball up for a plus 20-yard gain. So when you talk about the gap run scheme, it also opens up the pass game, and that's the answers to the test for the quarterback because now it makes it extremely easy for you.
And all that, fellas, negates defensively if one of the things you do if you're Detroit is, you know, you've got Hutchinson, you've got Al-Qadim Muhammad with 3.5 sacks. It's like, okay, when will we ever get to rush the passer?
Yeah.
So one of the rare times I've ever said this in terms of defensive scheme, it's like I'm going to Jared Goff, actually, as a player on defense during the week and say, man, we need 35. Because he is going to have to score to keep this close, and then hopefully the defense can make one play in the fourth quarter because Detroit – Branch is suspended. Yeah. There's so many people hurt. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day.
It's be a good game. I just think the way that Tampa's playing offensively, the different screens that they present to you, the shots they take down the field. And I'd say this, like, Detroit can't make a mistake. It feels like every time a defense has made a mistake in coverage or leverage, Baker's hurt them.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson is on that Detroit side. He leads the NFL with 24 QB pressures. He's a force to be reckoned with. All right, back games, failing to reach 20 points in either game. In those 2 games, Jalen Hurts has taken 9 sacks and ranks 22nd in the league in QBR. During the Eagles' 4-0 start, Hurts ranked 8th in QBR. Now Hurts faces a Vikings defense that could be a bad matchup for him. Hurts has the third longest average time to throw this season, just about 3 seconds. That's a long time. The Vikings defense averages about 2.5 seconds before the first pressure, among the 5 fastest teams in the NFL. Dan and J-Mac at the touchscreen over there. Fellas, how does Brian Flores and his scheme in Minnesota make life difficult for opposing QBs? Yeah,
they make you play with less while also making you see more.
Absolutely.
And 2 clips are the perfect example. When I start talking about play with less, sometimes it's the less amount of blockers. Sometimes it's the less amount of people downfield to throw the football to, while also seeing more when it comes to what's the front, what's the rotation, who's actually in coverage, and it leads to a lot of missed blocks by our up front people, our backs, or missed coverage. Okay, so as the quarterback, I get to the line of scrimmage right now. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people and a flat line.
And then when you see this 7, because I'm looking at this, and you have to set protection some way. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on this side of the center, 3 guys on that side. What are you saying to yourself, to your center, where you want guys to go?
Yeah, so the Steelers are going to take their center, right guard, and right tackle and kick him to the right. So they're trying to take these 3 and be responsible for these 3. Okay, so 6 essentially, that's fine. But the defense still has 4 here. I only have a left guard, left tackle, and back. Now, the reason why you could do that as an offense, because this back is a free release. So you sit there and say, okay, if one of those guys pressures me and we don't block them, I'll just throw it to the back.
Yes.
The problem is this. The Minnesota Vikings take those people, spin them out, and then drop them into coverage. So the person I want to throw the hot to, because there's unblocked defenders, they're completely covered.
And that's the beauty of this defense. Because we have what we call a mugged up look of all these guys on the line of scrimmage, we right away determine that, oh, Brian Flores is bringing a ton of pressure. A lot of times, to your point, for the quarterback, you have to see it pre-snap and post-snap, because all of this is right now, look, 1, 2, there's 3 guys rushing. Everybody else is in coverage. The quarterback should have plenty of time because it's 5 on 3, and still he's getting pressure right in his face.
And as an offense, we have 4 offensive linemen in blocking 1, 2 players. That's a huge advantage to the defense, and you have enough in coverage.
This vision of everybody there.
Exactly. And then you go a little bit later and go, okay, well, what about only the 4-man rushes? What you're going to get from Minnesota is this. You get a 1, 2, 3, 4-man rush with a dropout. Now, as a coverage, when I see these 3 defenders here, I actually think this is going to be some form of what we would call a middle field closed defense. So I want to work the ball to the perimeter, maybe a cover 3. And one of the keys is, what's the safety and the boundary do? Harrison Smith right here drops down to there. That is an indicator to a quarterback that you are still playing that single high safety, middle of field closed defense.
And when you get single high safety, it's going to tell you as a quarterback, you're going to have action. You're going to be able to throw the ball on the outside. But what I love about this, it's Harrison Smith dropping down. And he's not just dropping down. He's dropping down to be that kind of hook player.
Yeah.
Because for us as a defense, I used to always hear my college coach say, simple me, complex you. For Jake Browning as quarterback, there's moving pieces all over the place. When you look at this as a defense, this is just plain old cover two. Nothing more than that. Every single player on this field on defense has run cover two since they were in high school.
And now as an offense, we have a protection issue because you're only pressuring 4, but because of all those moving parts, we end up having a free runner in the backfield, a spy on the quarterback, 7 guys in coverage, and now we're in panic mode as an offense, and all those vision, all those people that have vision or hands to get on the football leads to that massive takeaway.
Best part about this play, the best athletes on the field are the cornerbacks. One of them get the ball in their hands, and Dan, I know you've seen this a lot. Watch what he does with it. He picks that ball up, and he takes it all the way back to the crib. Where was he playing last year? He was winning the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. Somebody said online that, hey, they wanted him back. He just chose to leave. He wrote a laughing emoji, said, I'll see you guys this week.
And that's true, and this is why it matters. If Philadelphia can't run the football, they struggle mightily with those fire zone pressures.
Ooh, goodness. Okay, let's get Teddy in here. That's fascinating, you guys. Let's talk personnel. How important are the types of players? You saw one of them there that need to be there to pull off what Brian Flores is trying to do with this system and scheme.
Yeah, word J-Mac used in that presentation, which was great, was complex. And this is a complex scheme that needs smart players that know how to do multiple things, and the Minnesota Vikings defense has them. I'm going to show you a chart where 3 of their top tacklers in terms of what they do. We're talking Joshua Metellus, we're talking Ivan Pace, and you're talking Eric Wilson. Look at their pre-snap locations. Do you have any clue where they're going to be? A safety at linebacker, a linebacker over at a defensive end spot. What this looks like is chaos a lot of times, and I'm telling you, these players don't even know what they're doing sometimes. I'm going to show you a couple plays here that really illustrate the fact that how fun it can be to play in a defense like this where you can be complex, but also you need some help sometimes, because here's Eric Wilson and Ivan Pace, and they're moving around, and Pace is going to go to the end of the line of scrimmage. Harrison Smith says, no, that's mine. He pushes him out the way and says, not so much disguise, but he ends up making the tackle still because you're confusing the offense. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the score is 41-3, and they're still messing with this offense, all right? Is Pace going? Is Wilson going? He shows he's coming, but he has to drop out to 3. He showed he was going to 3. He ended up rushing, so now he comes out to 3, and then Metellus says, Jake Browning's had enough. He's like, fellas, I don't know what you're doing. Just take this interception. Just take it. I'm going to throw it to you. 41-3. That's it. That's what this defense does. It's complex. It plays mind games, but you need guys like Metellus and Pace, Wilson, Cashman maybe coming back, and that's a whole different level when Blake comes back.
I can just see how that is music to your ears. It's like chicken soup for a defensive guy's soul.
Finally, we have some control sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Talk to him, setting the tone. All right, coming up, with Fred Warner out, can the Falcons capitalize on the 49ers' banged-up defense? J-Mac gives us the blueprint for how Michael Penix Jr. can exploit the gap. That's next, right here on NFL Live. Oh, rise up. Okay. Tonight.
I am saying yes. If Flacco's going to throw the ball 40-plus times, you got to make sure you're throwing the ball to that young man, Jamar Chase. The biggest challenge for them is going to be being able to protect Flacco long enough for him to be able to get the ball to Jamar Chase.
All right, Teddy, give us a guy you think finds the end zone tonight.
We talked about him earlier. I'm going to go with DK Metcalf.
Hey.
I mean, it could be catch and run from 60, or it could be down there in the red area. I mean, this is Derrick Henry playing receiver, too. Once he gets the ball in his hands, trying to tackle this guy, big dude, strong. Man, I'm going with DK.
Okay, take a picture of it or just make your bets. A $10 bet wins you just over $35, okay, people? ESPN Bet Power Hour starting soon. Head to the ESPN Bet app 1 hour before kickoff to get enhanced odds on first touchdown scorer props for tonight's game. Score more on Thursday nights with ESPN Bet, the sports book for sports fans. All right, let's bring back Jeff Darlington for some more top stories. Jeff, what are you hearing about Trey Hendrickson's status for tonight?
Well, he tried to give it a go, Laura. He has been pushing to play, but it does look like Trey Hendrickson will, in fact, miss this game as he deals with this back and hip injury. wasn't able to get out there quite like he expected to. So I would say that we should not expect to see him. Obviously, as Teddy mentioned earlier, some very good news for Aaron Rodgers. He will not need to deal with the wrecking ball that is Trey Hendrickson. Now to J.J. McCarthy for the Vikings in his ongoing status as he tries to come back from that high ankle sprain. Now, he could return this week, but Kevin O'Connell being not really clear yet. The first 2 days of the week really kind of being vague about who it would be. Would it be McCarthy or Carson Wentz? Don't forget, Wentz also dealing with a shoulder injury. I would look toward this, though. Wentz is a full participant in practice. McCarthy is limited at this point. It does look like Wentz is trending that direction. Brock Purdy limited in practice, but at least he was out there. Now, the 49ers are being very cautious about bringing Purdy back due to that turf toe injury because of what happened last time. He went out there, he re-aggravated. Mac Jones also dealing with his own ailments, but it does look like Jones is probably more in line to play this week. Again, this is a 49ers team that is trying to be so careful with Purdy. Obviously, it doesn't hurt that Mac Jones has been playing some pretty good ball as well, Laura.
Yeah, exactly. And they're thinking about those Falcons, Jeff, on the other side of things, which have been really good. Bijan Robinson leads the NFL with 164 yards from scrimmage per game, and is just the 5th player in the last 50 seasons with 800 yards from scrimmage in his first 5 games of the season. Look at this list. The only other player to do it was the last 20 years was Christian McCaffrey. 2 of those players went on to win Offensive Player of the Year, Thurman Thomas and Priest Holmes. I mean, my word.
Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Bills, called him our era's Barry Sanders.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, Saquon Barkley's talked about him as like, this is the best guy.
Pump the brakes on that a little bit.
Teddy's not buying it yet? Well, at least Sean McDermott said it, not Dan Orlovsky.
That'll get attached to me, trust me.
Right. Dan, why will this run game be so difficult for the 49ers to handle this week?
Yeah, it's not just the 49ers. I really think from this point on moving forward for the NFC, if you can't handle this outside zone, you're going to struggle to slow this offense and really to beat this Atlanta Falcons team. Couple examples. One, this is a defense when you're doing it well. And I think number one is, like, you better set the outside edge, and then you better set the next level edge. And I think both Rousseau and Ed Oliver do a good job. But what I've learned is if you're not great on the backside, not only with gap integrity, but just muddying that cutback lane, it's a problem. This is the 81-yarder. And I would sit there and go, well, oh, great, they set the edge, right? Defensively, they forced the ball back inside. But there it goes to that backside gap responsibility and commitment. If you give this kind of seam and you're not on that other shoulder of that guard, not only that, but tackling downfield and in space and shedding the blocks of the wide receivers, almost every chance is this opportunity to go to the house. And so I think that run game, that one type of scheme is capable of carrying this offense to the playoffs.
Yeah, and then linebackers getting off blocks too, like you said. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, as a linebacker and a former linebacker, when you go up against a zone scheme like that, it's the most deciphering that I'll do. I mean, you run a wham, you run a gap screen, I know where I got to go. I know what gap I have to be at. This is interpretation, all right? And the best at doing that was Fred Warner. So without Fred Warner, we got Tatum Bethune coming in, and there's a lot of new things that you're going to have to deal with in terms of also when safeties come down, they expect linebackers to be somewhere also. So
you're darn right. Be there to make the tackle, so I don't have to make
the interpretation that where is that going to hit? Because basically what you're doing is you're playing running back without the ball. So I'm just looking at a picture, and I'm seeing holes, and if it's backside, I got to get there, too, as a linebacker. It's going to be very tough without Fred Warner to stop this game.
As I look at those 2 videos, those 2 pictures that you showed on those 2 plays, the thing that the offense wants for the defense is we want to get you to go sideways.
Right.
When I'm playing defense, as much as I'm going sideways, to Teddy's point, as a linebacker, I have no idea what gap Bijan is going to choose. That first clip, you saw the defensive end get outside Rousseau, and you saw Ed Oliver get up the field.
Like double edges. Almost.
Yes, double edges. When you have your defensive linemen, defensive tackles, and they're going sideways, but the end is setting the edge, it still opens up the gaps on the inside. You need somebody internally to penetrate and get vertical to force the running back off his course. He can't just run in a straight line, press, 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 and cut. He now has to bubble. He has to do something different that allows a Teddy Bruschi to run downhill and now go make the tackle.
Let me ask you a question, because I was pretty critical of this pistol zone scheme a couple weeks ago. And after calling the game and talks with the team, they were teaching us, or at least me, that they run it out of the pistol intentionally to get Bijan the ball deeper. Because they think that, like, the further away he actually is from the offensive line, the better, because he can set the defense and then burst or watch the flow. And I wanted to ask, Teddy, you know, with this zone scheme, as a linebacker, are you more than likely to try to, like, get over the top and shoot front side? Or is it more likely to hang backside for a cut? Or is that the conflict?
And I'm telling you, with the depth that he would get, I would also deepen my alignment. So he is entering into the line of scrimmage at the same time that I am. So he's free of the blockers to make a cut, and I'm free of a blocker to react off of that. Another thing that they did in that game that you were calling, I was listening to, they bring them out of all these different places, and then they
line them up and then hand it off.
And then they still run the zone. So now I gotta reset my alignment, get my lineman right, because this isn't a passing situation. Bijan, who's still a good receiver out there, and then he comes in and runs the zone.
You know, you guys are talking about what is needed to defend this type of scheme. Like, who is built in the NFC to potentially do it against?
He would be able to answer it better than me. Like, I think you got to have a person set the edge on a consistent basis. Because, again, Atlanta was saying, you know, they like actually when that Bijan tries to gain the corner. Like, I've always been around the outside zones. Like, you press the corner and cut it. And so, like, I think you got to be really good at setting the edge. I think you got to have secondary people that are good and willing to tackle. Speed at the linebacker. I think penetrating defensive tackles, like, you got to check a lot of the things.
Like, I think about, like, what Philly has defensively.
Until you saw them last week.
No doubt. Yeah. Just the makeup in the roster. When you think
Nolan Smith back.
When you think about Nolan Smith, when you think about Jalen Carter, when you think about Cooper DeJean in that nickel spot, because Atlanta's running this out of 11 personnel as well. So you're getting the nickel out there on the field. Your nickel, when you talk about if they're running away from him, when you're talking about filling that cutback lane, that could be him in that scenario. When you're talking about running towards him, having to step up, a guy like Cooper DeJean is a nickel who can play physical in the run game as well.
And they had a couple backers that were doing well also, and Bond and Jihad Campbell. But I have to reassess.
They're going to have to get healthy.
Absolutely.
Hey, before we get out of this, I want to ask you about Michael Penix Jr. because as much credit as we give to Bijan for what he's done, what stuck out to you about Penix Jr. What he's done well?
Okay, you're watching film on this kid, and I've been slow to jump on board with him because I just want to see more tape on him. And when you're watching the film defensively, your eyes sort of get more interested in the fourth quarter. This has been the best quarterback in terms of QBR in the fourth quarter. The number one QBR in the fourth quarter is Michael Penix. He hasn't had an overthrow or an underthrow in this quarter. So all of them have been on target. So now, there have been pass breakups, yes, but the balls are still on target. So as a defender, you know this kid is a gamer. Once the fourth quarter comes around, if I'm in coverage in a good position, the ball's going to be there. Yeah, I do have a chance to make a play, but also receivers on the other side got to have a great amount of confidence thinking, if I'm hoping he's going to be accurate and I'm going to play well. Very impressed by Michael Penix in the fourth quarter.
Their coaching staff talks about how much they love his personality that's very kind of laid back and reserved. That's probably something that helps him in that fourth quarter. It's also this. Drake London is one of the, if not the best slot receivers in football. How many guys can line up against 6'3", 210 pounds and, you know, basketball frame? I think that's an advantage as well.
They've been waiting on him.
Penix comes out in the fourth quarter, baby.
Right, I love that. They've been waiting on him.
Penix comes out in the fourth quarter.
I love that you said that. So good. Hey, you know who else has been really good in a small sample size, but still, Jackson Dart. He's fresh off leading his team to an upset win over the Eagles. Can he keep that momentum going against Denver's defense? Well, Teddy is going to explain how Sean Payton's defense is going to put the rookie to the test. Watch out, Rook. We'll be right back. And around the NFL, we're going to start with rookie quarterback Jackson Dart. He's on a streak of back-to-back games with 150 pass and 50 rush yards. Look at that. The only other quarterback to do that this season, Patrick Mahomes, in weeks 1 and 2. No Giants player has ever done that in 3 straight games. Teddy, can Jackson Dart make it 3 in a row against the Denver defense?
Fellas, I think this is going to slow down. This is going to slow down because if you know Sean Payton, he's talking to his entire defense saying, hey, fellas, you see what those rookie did over there to the world champions? Let's make sure it doesn't happen to us. Jackson Dart has been incredible the last couple of weeks, but this pressure, Cooper, Bonito, they're hearing it all week. Take care of these rookies. I think they'll have a good game.
It's been a solid rookie campaign for Tetairoa McMillan, but now the team is getting him more involved in the red zone. He had 3 red zone targets last week against Dallas after having 5 in his first 5 career games combined. And he found the end zone twice against the Cowboys, his first 2 career touchdowns. Dan, will Teteroa McMillan continue to be a top target for Bryce Young in key spots?
Yes, and it has to. Bryce by far has the best accuracy throwing to Tet than he does anybody on his team. They double moved in the red zone last week. I think the thing that stands out so much about him is when the ball's in the air, it's go get the ball mentality. There's a smoothness to it. You can see the ball's constantly getting plucked out of the air instead of letting it get to his body. This offense is going to continue to play well in the pass game. It's got to be quarterback to Tet McMillan.
Arizona Wildcat, T-Mac.
Oh, tell him.
That's why I said I wanted to talk about him today.
Appreciate that, man.
You know? Hey, Daniel Jones has been one of the biggest surprises of the season, guys, with at least 200 pass yards and a touchdown in all 6 games this season. The last 2 Colts quarterbacks to start a season with a 6-game streak like that, hey, Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, okay? J-Mac, will this trend go to 7 straight with the Colts playing the Chargers on Sunday?
Oh, I'm going to say yes on this one. It's going to be probably the toughest challenge when it comes to this Chargers defensive, when they're trying to defend the pass, because they play with those 2 high safeties and they force you to run the ball. But the last 4 weeks, teams have been able to run the ball effective against them. I think that opens up opportunities in the play-action pass game for Daniel Jones to get those 200 yards and a touchdown.
Hey, still to come on NFL Live. Let's talk a little Joe Flacco coming up next. He's facing a tough Steelers defense. But could Jamar Chase and T. Higgins be in for a big game? Someone here says, not so fast. I don't know why I had to do it like
Hopefully not like that.
Well, maybe it's me saying it. You don't know until you come back, right? You got to stay tuned.
I just got to keep seeing more from Daniel.
Exactly.